Oh, I'm sorry. Good morning. I'm sorry. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are and whenever you're watching this. Hello. Hey, Diamond Onyx. Hey, Miss Wit. You changed your name, Miss Wit, to Miss Witness. Hey, Peaches. Hey, Volvo. Shondo's around the room to everybody as you come in. Let me put a Shondo in my own chat. Hello. But we got some things to talk about and to discuss. Some myths to break down and all of that good stuff. So, yes, we will discuss my great state of Florida. Florida, bless her name. Don't get me started. All right, Lady Millie, Amsterdam. See, that's why I said good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you may be and whatever time you may be watching this. Hey, Peaches. Hey, little baby. Hey, Tanya. So we got some things to talk about with with respect to this politics. Let me just say this. Those of you all who've been rocking with me the long way for a long time, you know we're not new to discussing these things. We've been discussing these things, politics, and we've been discussing different things going on with these yet to be United States of America for a long time. We ain't new to the party. Some of these other people are new to the party. They just want to discuss it. Now that we've had this presidential election, hell, some of these people weren't even discussing it days before the election. Some of these people didn't discuss it until I almost say yesterday, until Tuesday, or until results didn't come out as fast as they wanted to on Tuesday. We ain't new to this. We ain't flued here. We grewed here. We ain't new to this. We true to this. Listen, ask the subscribers how many times we don't had our lives ceremoniously shut down right in the middle. I want to start by saying that, hey, Foy Bay, what's good? So, but yeah, we're going to break down some things. We're going to talk about some things. Shondo's in the chat. To each and every one of you. I see some of y'all with y'all new yellow. Lady Nika, if you're watching in the bushes, thank you for sharing my video. I just got a notification that you shared my video. So, y'all, let's break some things down today. Let's talk about some things today. Okay? I want to help dispel some myths and conspiracy theories, dispel some rumors, have some uncomfortable conversations, and help us as a people, specifically Black people, okay, come to grips and really sift through what is going on here, okay? Let's talk about what's going on here. I'm going to start off with the good stuff. I'm going to start off with the good stuff. Let me hydrate with my BioLite IV in a bottle. Mm. Not the Paula White prayer, dear God. Paula White makes me itch. Hey, Dark and Lovely. Hey, my love. Hey, Rochelle. So let's break down a few things. Let me first start because I've been looking at numbers. I've been getting numbers. I've been having conversation with some of my friends and my Democratic circles down in the great state of Florida, where I've been a delegate. So, first things first. The good stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, Pink Sugar. Thank you so much for your new membership. This is the House of Debauchery, so we have to give you a virtual blowjob. There you go. Thank you. But thank you so much for your membership. It will not go unnoticed. And we do have members only stuff. So, hey, So Jeff, what's good? Hey, Lady Steph. So, let's first things first. Black people did their job. Now, we're going to break down some of these numbers in a little bit. But by and large, by all stretch of the imagination, Black people did what they were supposed to do. The Democratic Party asked us to come out in droves, and we did. And let's be clear. If that young man, Joe Biden, wins the presidency, hey, Cat Mitchell, it is going to be on the strength of Black people in the Black vote in some of these major metropolitan areas, along with the Latino votes down there in places like Arizona and Nevada and New Mexico and things like that. Let's just be clear. So, I got another membership. Thank you so much, Dark and Lovely. There's your virtual blowjob. All right. So thanks so much for your membership. Black people did what they were supposed to do. Now we'll get down into the muck and mire of the minutia of it all in a little bit. But Black people were asked by the Democratic Party to go out and vote. And if that young man gets to his 270, it is definitely on the strength of Black and Latino vote, the minorities. Because let's be clear. See, this is where we finna have uncomfortable conversations. Even and before, and I'm not going to even relegate it to the Latino people on the West Coast, because even in Florida, see, people are focusing in on the Cubans and Venezuelans down in South Florida. Hey, Golden Vibe. But let's be clear. Even in the great state of Florida, the Cuban population is not the totality of the Latino population in the great state of Florida. You forgot, along that whole I-4 corridor, there is a tremendous Puerto Rican population that is just as big, and then depending on how the census lets us know this year, may be getting bigger than the Cuban population down south. And they align themselves considerably different than the Cuban population. So we're gonna get that social job. We're gonna get that. We're gonna get through all of that minutia. We're gonna get down to that thing. So they like to focus on that small population of the Cuban Americans to make them feel way more important than they should feel. But let's be clear, they're not the reason that Trump won Florida. We'll get down to that in a few minutes as well. But we definitely, Black people did what they were supposed to do, and by and large, so did the Latino community, and the minority population did their job. We did what we were supposed to do. We went out. We came out in numbers. We came out in droves and voted. Period. So if and when that young man gets to his 270, trust and believe it's going to be on the strength of definitely the minority vote. Here's where we run into the problem. Here's where we run into the problem. Now, Democratic leadership is going to be, it's the problem. If you notice my thumbnail does not have 1600 Pennsylvania Boulevard. It don't have the American flag. Well, I think it is in the background. What it has there is the United States Senate chamber. Because Mitch McConnell, if the Republicans keep the Senate, Mitch McConnell will be happier at that point for the next at least 2 years than he was in the previous 4. Let me tell you why. Because Mitch McConnell will arguably hold more power than Joe Biden. Let's be perfectly and brutally honest. Mitch McConnell and those people aligned with him will tell you, if the Republicans keep the Senate, will arguably have more power than the president. Because no legislation will happen. Not a single piece of legislation. Let's also be clear about this. The only thing that Joe Biden will be able to do is put out executive orders, which is fleeting. That's why people always say, oh, Obama didn't do nothing when he was president. Well, you're neglecting the fact that the whole second part of his tenure, he didn't control any of the legislation, which means no legislations could go through. So there was nothing that could be done, but hopefully try to write a few executive orders. So let's just be clear about that. The other thing about it is this. Irreparable damage has been done to what we know as these yet to be United States of America. Here's the first way it was done. Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump, while Donald Trump had all his antics going on, saying every racist thing, saying every inflammatory thing, inciting riots and everything, while we were focused on the fact that, as we should have been, the fact that there was police profiling and all of these people dying, you know what Mitch McConnell and the Republicans were doing? They were putting people in the Circuit Court of Appeals all over America. They were putting people on the appellate courts all over America, on the federal benches all over America. People who are not even qualified, people who had not even served enough time lawyering, served enough time being an adjudicator on a local level, on a state level, but because they aligned themselves with Trump, because they lined the pockets of an administration that needed its pockets lined, because they were in the bane of the most racist and segmented populations of America, they said, oh, y'all are going to align yourself and y'all are rubber stamp anything we want. Fine, we'll put you in position in the bench. So now, even when you get to the point where the liberals and the Dems, hey, Stephanie Hart, and hey, really be, hey, Shay, are try to do things the legal way, you forget they stacked the board legally. And then the true ace in the hole is the fact that now you have a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court. 3 of those 6 were appointed by your current president. One of which, a fourth of which, is black and is the most conservative and has some of the most racist policies against people of minorities of anybody on the court. I mean, the one justice that may swing liberal sometimes, as people say, is Chief Justice Roberts, because he has sometimes sided with the left. But it ain't gonna mean nothing, because even if he does, it's still going to be a 5-4 win. So what are we talking about here? So that is why I regardless of the 270, I'm eyeing that 100, because the 100 is where, well, technically not the 100, the 50. The 50 that you need for the United States Senate is the most important thing. Now, what that means is when the runoff comes in the state of Georgia in January, that's going to be the most important races out there, depending on how these votes are cast. And I think the Arkansas races out there, they said that Kelly is more. I think Kelly will go ahead and take that Arizona Senate seat, which then will put it at, I think, 48 and 48, which will leave those two. No, I'm sorry, 49 and 49. I think that North Carolina seat, thank you for your membership, Pink Sugar. The North Carolina seat, it could go dim, but it's looking like, if the numbers and the statistics and the polls go how they've been going, it may stay red. So let's just say that stays red. The Dems keep that. I believe that's Arkansas. There's a seat, and then the Arizona seat. So that will be 49 to 49, which leaves the two Georgia races. Now, in terms of the two Georgia races, all Jon Ossoff has to do is he has to bleed into Purdue's lead enough so that he can get him less than 50%. Even if it's 49.99999, that's enough to spark a runoff. So that's one thing. The other thing is the race with Laughlin and Warnock, Reverend Warnock in Georgia as well. Georgia is going to become extremely important. Here's the problem. Thank you so much, Pink Sugar, for your membership. There's your virtual blowjob. Sorry. Here's the problem. And this is where we have to start to hold leadership accountable in these parties that we aligned with. And why can we hold them accountable as Black people? Because Black people did what they were supposed to do. We took our Black asses out there. We voted. We got people out there. We drove people to the polls. We voted by absentee. We mailed in the ballots. Black people did what they were supposed to do. Hey, behind the bar. Black people did what they were supposed to do. Behind the bar, somebody's going to gather you. I'm just waiting to see who it's going to be. That's funny. Oh, y'all can't see. Wait, I wonder, can you see what he wrote? Did YouTube censor it? Oh. Anyway. But Black people did what they were supposed to do. Black people did what they were supposed to do. And so now we can hold those people in positions of power accountable. Here's one of the ways that we hold people in positions of power accountable. People always talk about Obama and the Obama coalition and what the Obama administration was able to do. And as much as the Dems want to rest on the laurels of Obama, what the Obama administration did at that time is things that the Democratic Party was not doing. Remember, the first Obama race, he wasn't supposed to get the nomination. It was supposed to be Hillary Clinton, if we remember. She was the good old Democratic Party system. Hey, the T Lounge. She was the one. But you know what Obama did? Obama said, I'm going to do more grassroots. See, the Democratic Party had rested on the, I'm just going to get a bunch of money, buy a bunch of campaign ads, and let the campaign ads do the job. Not knowing that we are in the 21st century and the tides are turning with your electorate. Not as many people watch television, even on TV anymore. You know what most people are doing? This. That's what most people are doing. They're on their phones. Most people are on social media. That is where, and what that means is you got to meet people where they are. You got to do grassroots. You know what a lot of young people also do now? They go out and have socials. They go out and have brunch. That's what I'm telling you. They go out, they say, oh, we're going to happy hour. We're going to have brunch this Saturday. We're going out and doing this. Everybody's not sitting in front of the television anymore. So you paying hundreds of $1,000,000 for campaign ads is not going to do anything. You know what most people do when they see an ad come on television? Flip the channel. So here you are spending boatloads of money for nothing. So let me get back to my point. My point is this. The Democratic leadership decided Joe Biden, and Joe Biden made it very clear. If you remember that first presidential election, the debacle, not election, the first presidential debate, presidential debacle, Joe Biden came right out and was very clear. I am the Democratic Party. I am the leader of the Democratic Party, and I have decided how this is going to go. Because remember, they were trying to hold him to some things that Kamala had said when she was running for president, and he made it very clear. No, let me clue this up for you. I'm the Democratic Party. I am the one that makes the decision for the Democratic Party. And what Joe Biden had decided to do, and his team of people, they decided that they were going to focus on trying to flip some key states that Hillary lost. The Minnesotas, Wisconsin, Minnesota, that whole belt right there, that Rust Belt, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, those states where they lost ground. They neglected states that they felt like, well, I don't think I'm a winner. I ain't gonna even worry about it. They neglected the Floridas of the world. They neglected Texases of the world. They neglected the Georgias of the world. They came into that South Carolina race very late in the game. That Jamie Harrison's money that he was making was coming from private PACs. It wasn't from the hierarchy of the Democratic Party. They came after the fact. They were late to the party. So what ended up happening was, and it looks like he may end up getting those states that he focused on, but you neglected other areas. And see, the power of the Obama coalition and the Obama administration was they didn't take people for granted. They said, yeah, I know I need that. And I know I might not have a chance over in this area, but guess what I'm going to still do? I'm going to still go over there. I'm going to still go down and sit with the people. I'm still going to have my grassroots over there. I'm still going to go over and drink coffee with them. I'm still going to go to the mom and pop shop and eat this nasty ass cheesecake they got over here that I know I don't like, but I eat some Tums later and I get over it. They were doing these things. You had the top of the ticket that was going to these places. What does that do to people? That lets people feel like, you know what, so and so does care. You know what, they are speaking to what I said. You know what grassroots people do as well? They sit down and they listen to the people. And what did this person say? Oh, they said X. I'm just gonna make up something. They said they care about Jordan tennis shoes. So on my next stomping ground, when they see me in the next state, I'm gonna say I care about that man who loves Jordan tennis shoes. Because guess what I just did? I just sat down with that guy and I just made him feel like his stuff was important to me. And you keep doing that. That's not what's happening now. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is this. So much effort is being placed on trying to recapture white votes that you're never going to get again. A lot of them Rust Belt white people, white women are not coming back. More white women this time voted for Donald Trump than did in 2016. More white women. He ain't got less misogynist. He ain't got less racist. If anything, he's doubled down and tripled down. But you still over here clamoring to middle-aged white women in the suburbs who are not coming back. Now, I'm going to tell you a whole segment of the population that the Joe Bidens of the world and the Democratic leadership neglects that could have gotten you a lot more votes. Think about the 35 and younger part, that 18 to 35 demographic. Hey, M. Dion, think about that 18 to 35 demographic across racial lines, across gender lines, across orientation lines. Nothing about the Democratic Party, the Joe Bidens of the world, and the Democrat leadership is reaching out to that segment of the population. These are the Bernie people. These are the Bernie people. You trying to salvage baby boomers. They're gone. These people are no longer flower children, smoking weed, at Woodstock. These people are racist. These people are white supremacists now, and they have come full circle, a complete 180 from where they might have been some 50 years ago. Let's be clear. They're not coming back. And see, what happens is you're losing out on a whole segment of the population. And see, what happens for young people is, this is what the young people do. Young people do this. I remember I was young. We all remember this. When you're young, here's what happens. You talk to somebody a couple times. Hey, can you help me with so-and-so? Because that was your mama said, hey, go over there to Uncle so-and-so. He'll help you if you need money for such and such. You go over to Uncle so-and-so's house. Call Uncle Johnny. You go over to Uncle Johnny's house. Uncle Johnny, you go over to Uncle Johnny's house. Uncle Johnny, can I hold $100 because I want to get such and such? Now you got to sit down with Uncle Johnny. Uncle Johnny gonna say, boy, you know you don't need such and such. Boy, you know, I could think of 3,000 more things you could do with that. More important things you could be doing with that $100. You hold on to the hope. I'm going to listen to the story because Uncle Johnny is going to get me whatever I need. You don't sit there and listen to the whole story and everything. Set there 3 hours only for Uncle Johnny to say, now, boy, I don't know if I'm ready to give you that $100 yet. You come back here and you see me tomorrow, and we could talk about that some more. Because your mama told you that's who's going to give you money. You say, you know what? If he going to give me the $100, I'm going to go back over there tomorrow. You go back over there tomorrow. You go through the same rigmarole. Uncle Johnny done talk to you 3 more hours. You still ain't got no close to this $100. After the 3rd day of that, you figure, hey, boo, you ain't gave me no $100. Now, Uncle Billy, because Uncle Johnny is the one who your mama told you, Uncle Johnny got a good job. Uncle Johnny always do right by his money. He he got nice, he good people. Uncle Johnny always looked out for me, your mama. Uncle Billy, he over there selling drugs. Uncle Billy ain't shit. Uncle Billy got 3 girlfriends. Uncle Billy might have beat his last girlfriend and ended up in jail. Uncle Billy sit on his porch and smoke weed all day and go to the trap house sometimes and serve. You go over by Uncle Billy. You ain't even went to Uncle Billy's house. You just walked by Uncle Billy's front yard. Uncle Billy call out, "Hey there, boy, come on over here. What's going on with you? Because you looking sad." Uncle Billy said, "What's wrong with you?" "Man, I went over there to Uncle Johnny. That fool, I asked him for $100. I've been over there 3 days. That fool won't give me nothing. You know what? Here go $100. Go ahead. Don't worry about it." Guess where I'm going from here on out to get my money? I'm not going to Uncle Johnny. I'm going to Uncle Billy, because Uncle Billy gave me the $100 that I needed when I needed it. Damn the fact that Uncle Billy beat his girlfriend. Damn the fact that Uncle Billy is over here selling drugs. Damn the fact that I don't like half the stuff that Uncle Billy did. But guess what Uncle Billy did? When I needed my $100, he gave me my $100. Now, I went the long way around this story. My problem is, the point that I'm making is this. The Democratic leadership now is the Uncle Johnnies of the world. For a lot of those 18 to 30, 35, you got to sit up here and listen to the stories of old days. You got to sit up here and look at them focus on middle-aged white women and white suburban men that are never coming back, while your own needs are getting neglected because your mama told you to go over there and vote for them. Meanwhile, the Republican Party say, "Oh, they didn't give you no money over there? Okay, well, here's what you need. I got you right there. You want me to do that? All right, I got you." Mind you, you don't want no parts of what Uncle Billy got going. You know you don't want no parts of what Uncle Billy got. But Uncle Billy gave you what you needed at that moment. And that's why you keep seeing, it's not big numbers, but they keep chipping away and chunking away at populations that have been Democratic stalwarts, because Democratic leadership has not progressed. They have not been progressive. They're still stuck in old school times. Y'all better start listening to the AOCs. Now, I'm not saying get as radical as AOC. You got to temper that. But you got to start to listen to a newer base. You got to start forming a newer base, because that 18 to 35 is going to end up being the middle-aged ones. And if you haven't listened to them this whole time, what makes them think you're going to listen to them when they do get that age? Just telling you what I know. Here's another thing that we have to contend with. At this point, wherever you go, be it work, the grocery store, the gas station, wherever you frequent, we ain't going too many places in the middle of a pandemic. Every time you see a white person, this is what you probably should be doing in your mind. That's what you should be doing. Because white liberals that told you all, "Oh, we're here for you. Oh, we're voting for the equality of America." Now, I'll give white men their credit. White men ain't never tried to lie. White men came right out and told you, "Listen, we're not here for it. We not here for y'all causes. We do not care. We're trying to keep and maintain dominance and establish who we are. We ain't giving up nothing." Hey, Miss Honey, white women are the biggest liars in America. They have been lying to black people for a long time. I'm sorry if you are a white woman in the chat and it doesn't apply to you, then it don't apply to you. But by and large, I'm talking about the white women. White women been lying to black people for a long time. White women ain't here for black women. They only here for black men's peens. They ain't here for black men equality. If they had it their way, we go back to the days of slavery with buck breaking, where they had black men tied down with a hard penis so they could just insert it in them. They don't want no parts of no equality. Let's just be clear. They voted more for Trump this time. They don't care. Half of them get turned on by his antics. Okay, let's be clear. Oh, he said grab me by the pussy. Oh, he said that. Half of them get turned on by that. If we're just being brutally honest. So suburban white women, educated women, are not the answer, because the ones who they target is the middle-aged ones, the 35 and ups. I mean 36 and ups. Okay? Which goes back to my point I just made. When is the Democratic Party going to start to address the needs of that 18 to 35-year-old? Because they are probably the most beholden. They, along with the black race, are the most beholden to the Democratic Party. Let's be clear on that. But they don't care. They don't. They want to do things the old traditional way. Look at the amount of hundreds of millions of dollars they put into some of these Democratic Senate seats, around the country. You know where most of that money they went into? Television ads. You know what it did for them? Nothing. Some of them lost points where they thought they would have gained points. Hey, it's me, Dean. Never underestimate the power of white people to be white and to want to stay in power. Hey, Keisha McCrae. White people will stay in power as long as they can. They will tell you what they got to tell you to appease you, to patronize you, and to get you to shut up. And then go into the election booth, the voting booth, and vote against you. I don't see why the Democratic Party is focusing in on people who they will never get back. And let's be clear. The lines in the sand have been drawn. The Republican Party is never going back to the Republican Party of old. It's never going back. You want to know why? Because Donald Trump proved to them that I can do whatever I want. I can say whatever I want. I can be as racist as I want to be. I can be as misogynistic as I want to be. And not only will I hold the highest position, I can also get all of those people lining the judicial branch who can truly affect change. Now, in order to change something, it's going to be damn near impossible. You want to talk about a broken judiciary and penal system? It's even more broken now. It's never going back. So them trying to reach out to Rust Belt people and all of these people, to non-college educated white people, it's not going to happen. They're never coming back. You want to know what Donald Trump sold to them? Donald Trump sold the great white hope to them. You know what the great white mindset is? I don't care how poor I am as a white person. I don't care what trailer park I live in. I don't care what food steps I'm on. I don't care how far beneath the poverty line I am as a white person. That still makes me better than the richest black person in America. That is how they feel. And that is how Donald Trump and the white supremacists and the party of the Republicans have made them feel. That's how they've been made to feel. That is what this country was built on. Unless you start to listen, what this election should tell you is this. Unless you as a Democratic Party start to expand your base and start to meet the needs of a population that truly, let's be, the 18 to 35-year-olds are the largest segment of the population. The largest segment of the American populace is the 18 to 35-year-olds. These are all people who can vote. I don't understand the logic not trying to address the concerns and needs of those people at all. Even if you do, like politicians always do, you just lie to them and appease them to the point where you get them to come over. You give them a little carrot or two, but you got to give people something. You're not giving people anything. You're not even addressing. I talked to my people down in Miami-Dade County. We've been having extensive conversations over the last 2 or 3 days. You want to know what the problem is? In Miami-Dade County, which is the bluest of blue areas in Florida, okay? Dade and Broward County. Miami-Dade, Broward County, and Palm Beach County. Bluest of blue areas in Florida. You want to know how they lost United States House of Representative congressional seats in the bluest of blue area? You want to know how they lost them? You want to know how 200,000 plus votes alone were lost in Miami-Dade County by the Democratic Party? You want to know why? Neglect. Neglect. Even the Puerto Rican population, which generally their numbers in the past isn't quite as high as the African American population, but it wasn't far. It was well into the 80s. The Puerto Rican vote for the Democratic Party. It wasn't anywhere near that. I think it was low 70s this time along that I-4 corridor. So they talk a whole lot about their Cuban population, but they never sent the top of the ticket to Florida. So what that said to those people down there is, oh, you don't care. So why should I care? You ain't coming down here to talk to me about what I care about and my needs and what we care about down here. So why should I care to vote for you? And rightfully so. There could have been inroads that could have been made in Texas. Biden never came to Texas. He sent Kamala Harris, but that doesn't substitute for the actual person running for the seat going. Because you're still trying to win over people who you're never going to win. I was never worried about Michigan going back red. That's something I just was never worried about. Michigan, I was never even worried about. Pennsylvania going back red. I was never worried about that. Where bang for the buck could have been placed is areas where you could have expanded your base, but you didn't do that. And now you got problems trying to win the Senate. The politics of it all. So now y'all are waiting with bated breath for the 270. I'm waiting with bated breath to see how these Senate seats shape up. Because if the Dems do not get to 50, your 270 is going to be nothing. If the Democrats do not get to 50 Senate seats, and you better believe, I can guarantee you right now, the Republican Party, you really be, you said look how close it came in those states, like the I don't understand. Really be, you got to explain that a little more, because I'm trying to figure out what you're saying with that last comment. I guarantee you right now, the Republican Party already have people on the ground right now in the great state of Georgia working for this January runoff. The January runoff in the great state of Georgia looks like it's going to be the most important race right now. Look at how close we came to losing those states. The only reason they're not calling Pennsylvania is because they're just waiting to get the only reason they're not calling Pennsylvania, I think, will go blue. But the problem with the reason that it's as close as it is still goes back to what I was saying. Okay, no problem, really be. Goes back to what I was just saying a few minutes ago. They haven't made inroads to certain segments of the populations, and they've neglected them. And the other side has started to eat away at that population. That's the point that I'm making. Was it going to go back blue? I had every that I didn't say it was going to be an easy blue. You know what I'm saying? But I knew that they were going to go back blue. But the point that I'm making is there was so much money raised, not enough bang for the buck. I guess that's the best way I can put it. There's so much money raised. The money that the Dems raised dwarfed the monies that the other side raised. What did it get you? Where is your focus? Some of these strategists need to be fired because they gave you wrong guidance. They need to be fired. They need to be fired. They need to be fired. And you can't tell me that Florida was not a winnable state. Florida has very much been winnable. But if Florida is neglected, more so than Texas, which you can make inroads with, but by and large, we know Texas is very, very red. South Carolina, you can start to make inroads, but by and large, is very, very red. Even Georgia, you can start to make inroads, but by and large, is very, very red. Florida can and usually is kind of purple. It can be won. There was no focus there. The fact that you're losing points in areas where, you know, it's so blue, you know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. I mean, the fact that you're losing points in areas that you should not be losing points in tells you that there needs to be some reassessment with strategies. There definitely needs to be some reassessment. No, and like I said, there are inroads blazing that are being made in South Carolina. Absolutely. And there are a lot of, if you look at the census population statistics and the numbers and things like that, and this is something else that we've talked about in some of the conference calls and some of the calls that I've had over the last couple of days is there's a large migration of liberals and minorities that are migrating from the north down to those large metropolitan cities in some of these red states, the South Carolinas, the North Carolinas, that whole Bible Belt area. There's a large migration of liberal and minorities that are moving to large cities in these areas. There's a large populace of people that do get activated and elevated to vote. But the problem is when you don't focus on those people in those areas and you just take for granted, oh, they're going to do what they got to do. And by and large, these people did. The problem is you don't get the extra that you probably could have, maybe moved the needle in areas where the needle could have been moved and turned. If you don't focus and then you start to lose ground that you had, think about 2018. Think about some of the inroads that were made in 2018 in that Bible Belt area where a lot of these states had gubernatorial races. In a lot of these states where Senate seats were up for grabs. There was a lot of momentum toward the blue on these states down the bottom, not all of them turning blue, but them being much more competitive than they were. And for the leadership in the Democratic Party to make it a focus, not to focus on that and capitalize on that and just rest on the laurels of, well, it's just going to keep happening. That's just negligent. It's lazy. That's plain and simple. It's lazy. It's simply lazy. It's lazy. And if they don't find a way to change this, if they do not find a way to change this, mark my words, 2022 might end up looking like 2010. And if you remember what 2010 was for the Dems, do we need to go back down the road to remember 2010? If you remember 2010, there was bloodshed on the Democratic Party. There was real bloodshed. That's where they lost the House. That's where they lost the Senate. And that's where the Tea Party came. And that's where you knew, yeah. And even there was some speculation that Obama was going to have difficulty in 2012. That did not happen because, I mean, incumbents are very hard to defeat anyway. But if Donald Trump wasn't as far out as he is, let's say Donald Trump was Mike Pence. Let's say Donald Trump was Mike Pence right now. Think about that. This election probably would be over and not on the side of the Democrats. And so if they don't start, hey, Shawana, I'm sorry. If they don't start to make inroads, expanding their base, doing what they need to do, 2022 might start to mirror 2010. And that's why I say somewhere along the lines, because we're losing seats in areas we should not lose seats. When you talk about losing Democratic seats in Miami-Dade County, you got a problem. So they got to start thinking. Like I said, their focus, they have tunnel vision focus. They're doing, they're looking at it in a micro perspective instead of looking at it in a macro perspective. Their strategy, the plan that they have in place is centered on one thing, neglecting the others. and not neglect of the other parts. You may lose those parts for good or for a long time. I was surprised to see Florida being so close to being a blue state, even though it did stay red. Actually, on presidential years, quintessential, Florida shifts and becomes purple. Now, on gubernatorial years, Florida stays red. But on a presidential year, Florida really becomes purple because there's a lot more galvanized. You have a lot more people out to vote in Florida. Hey, Nikki. But on a presidential election year, you have more likelihood for Florida to turn purple than you do on a non-presidential year. And for a presidential year, that's usually the year where Florida has won seats on the blue side. That's the years where Florida will, snatch a couple seats that we didn't expect because the state turns more purple those years. But for Florida have lost seats, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, no, Florida hasn't had a governor, Democratic governor since Lawton Child. That's what I'm saying. On the gubernatorial years, it stays staunchly red. But on a presidential year, oh, it definitely swings purple. Technically, Gore won Florida in 2000. There's a whole lot that went into that. But when you really get down to it, when you get into the number of people that were disenfranchised in areas like Tallahassee and Orlando and Tampa, where you have large segments of the population that were college students trying to vote and told that they could not vote and things like that. We all remember pregnant punches and dangling chads and all of that stuff back then. So like I said, Florida, hey, beautiful soul, in a presidential year, it swings purple, where you actually can make inroads on the Democratic seat. But on a gubernatorial year, no, it's staunchly red. So like I said, there has to be a real shift in the Democratic leadership and their strategy. You just can't keep. I'll use the example that we used earlier with Uncle Johnny and Uncle Billy. Democratic Party, you can't just keep being Uncle Johnny. I ain't saying you got to go be Uncle Billy, but at some point you got to give the young man $100 and not sit here keep listening to your sad stories from back when you was his age. Oh, you're welcome, beautiful. So you're very welcome. So here's what. Well, first of all, let me say again, like I said at the beginning of my message, Black people did what they were supposed to do. Now, here's moving forward what the strategists are going to have to do. There has to be a clear strategy for Black women and a different strategy for Black men. What it takes to get the Black female vote is not the same thing that it takes to get the Black male vote. And if you continue to think that, you're going to continue to have the other side chipping away at the Black male vote. They just keep thinking, oh, Black people are all going to vote the same way. Even within the Black population, we know, and beautiful, so you're from Miami like I am. You know, a lot of the Black people, a lot of the Black diaspora coming from the Caribbean Sea does not align themselves with the Black diaspora that are from America. Just like Really B can probably tell you in the DC area, you got a lot of Ethiopians and Eritreans and Nigerians. I know in Atlanta there's a large Nigerian population. A lot of Black people that immigrate from here to here from other countries don't align themselves wholeheartedly to the Democratic Party like Black Americans. And so even in how you deal with the Black population, you can't think monolithically about that. That certainly rang true with the Latino population this election. And I think that's going to be one segment of the population that all of the strategists and things like that are going to start to really parcel out what it's going to take to reach those different segments of the Latino population. But you notice how they spending all that time on the Latino population. They ain't talking about the Black. They don't care about us Black. See, they're continuing to take us Black people for granted because you know what they're gonna say? Oh, I ain't worried about Black people. Black people gonna vote for us anyway. We could just treat them all as with one broad stroke, and they all gonna come running. Because let's be clear, and beautiful soul, I'll even go further. Let's be clear. Black people who immigrate to the United States from other areas see themselves as better than Black Americans. And I'm going to just put that out. I'm going to just throw that on out there. They raise their children to believe their entire way of thinking, their entire way of culture is, oh, we're not like those Black people that were enslaved in America because we escaped our slavery in our country and we're better than them. So they're beneath us. And they always will be. Why do you think the Cuban population in Miami are the way they feel? Let's be clear, the Cuban population in Miami are white Latino people. Those are the white Cubans that left Cuba because they didn't like the fact that Fidel Castro was treating the Afro-Cubans just as well as he was treating the white Cubans. So they fled to America where they knew America was racist and America didn't see it for people of darker skin. And they felt like, well, we could mix in with the white people over there and they'll treat us better in America than we're treated in Cuba because we don't want Black people in Cuba, the Afro-Cubans, to be treated the same way us white Cubans are treated. Let's be clear. And they knew they had racist white people here in America that will fall for that mess. Let's be clear. Let's be very clear. The people are already starting to come up with all of these new strategies to attack the Latino population, which they should, which is correct. But what this election, now that the numbers are coming in, and now that you're seeing that one of the most divisive and racist presidents, one of the most misogynistic presidents, was able to cut into staunchly liberal segments of the populations. He cut into the LGBTQIA plus population. He cut into Black women voting segment. He cut into the Black men voting segment. He definitely cut into the Hispanic voting segment. What that should say to you is this. If we don't do something to fix the messages that we're getting, if we don't do something to fix the strategies, those numbers are going to keep getting worse. That's just the fact of the matter. If the Democratic Party does not already have people on the ground in the great state of Georgia right now working on January's Senate runoffs, they're behind the 8 ball. They're behind the 8 ball. And the thing about it, because right now, it looks like he's going to get to the 270. Right now, the number is 50. The number we care about is 50, which is 50 seats in the Senate, and then you'd have Kamala Harris, who could come over and be the 51st, be the tie, break the tie. That's all you should be focused on right now. All of that money y'all raise needs to be focused on getting people. Y'all need to go talk to Stacey Abrams. These other been these years in the great state of Georgia on what do we need to do to make inroads, not only in the metropolitan Atlanta area, not only in Macon, not only in Columbus, but in some of those rural areas of Georgia, outside of the Savannah area and Augusta area and stuff like that. Southern Georgia, Albany and Valdosta, Thomasville, in those areas. How do you start to make inroads there? How do you start to tap into getting those younger populations in some of those, because there's a lot of colleges in Georgia in rural areas. And if you can start to get some of those, speak to that younger population, talk to them about how you're going to meet their needs, and like going back to our example, give them the $100 that they are looking for so that you can get them out to vote. Because if you do not get to the 50, it's all for nothing. Y'all supposed to have people in Georgia right now, Democratic Party, right now. Stacey Abrams should be all over any media platform, Twitter, Google, Twitter, IG, Snap, Facebook, you name it. Because y'all got work to do. Black people did what they were supposed to do. They came out and they voted. They turned places like we learned on Beautiful Souls channel, Gwinnett County blue and things like that. Okay, so now what are we going to do to tap in more? Because if you don't think that the Republicans and the other side already don't have people in place in these rural areas telling them how they've taken our state away from us, and telling them how the liberals are going to come in and they're going to start to take things away from you. They're going to turn this city. Listen, I saw something driving through a rural area of Georgia about a month or two ago, where they were talking about how it was a sign in somebody's yard: don't let them turn your son queer. I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. You got Atlanta. Atlanta is one of the blackest cities in America. Atlanta, along with DC, these are some of the blackest cities in America. And not only does Atlanta have a large black population, Atlanta has a huge black gay population. You think that doesn't ring a bell to racist, homophobic ass white person down in rural Georgia? You know what's about to happen. It's about to get nasty. It's about to get real, real nasty. And like I've been saying over and over and over, you cannot have a fair fight with somebody who doesn't fight fairly. If y'all ain't ready to get down in the muck and mire Democratic leadership, what are you doing? You got to get down in the muck and mire, or you're not going to win this. For whatever they seem to be pushing up Keisha Lance Bottoms, and she ain't it. She ain't. I work on a college campus, and the students don't like Keisha. She supports gentrification. The party is not listening. Well, see, the thing about it is, a lot of, like I said, they got to listen to the right people. It's so much neglect. Keisha Lance Bottoms spoke to the traditional Dems, those older Dems. Okay. And like I said earlier on this live, You got to start speaking to that young base. You got to start to get them out. So many of them are so apathetic about the voting process that they ain't even going out to vote, period. They're like, well, whatever. They don't care about me anyway, so why should I go over there and care? And they don't have to be apathetic. The Bernie Sanders and AOCs of the world have taught us they're not always apathetic. They are willing to go out and vote. They just need to be they just need to feel like somebody's listening. They just need to feel like someone is going to hear them. They just need to feel like they're not going to be neglected. Like they have a seat at the table. A mess. It's a mess. Listen, win, lose, or draw. If I was Joe Biden, you know where I'm making my victory speech? Right in Georgia. Damn, Delaware, you don't already won Delaware. You got to keep your eyes on the prize. You got to think smarter. Nope, where's my, oh, I'm right here in Georgia. We going to be here till January. We'll be right here in Georgia. I'm going to every city in Georgia from now until January. I can worry about, making the country feel good and all of that after inauguration. But right now, I gotta keep my eyes on the prize. I gotta think about, okay, it's still not finished. We're not done. So even if he does flip Georgia, that's great. But let's be clear. The right is going to go full attack mode for those Senate seats. Full scale attack mode. And you got to be, because I'm telling you, if you don't get to 50, Mitch McConnell will be more powerful than Joe Biden. Make no bones about it. He's going to do that. He's going to sit right there with his purple hands and look at Joe Biden and Kamala Harris like, y'all want to do what? No, we're not having that. Oh, y'all trying to get what laws passed? Oh, we're not doing that. Matter of fact, let me call my friends who I just put on the Supreme Court and let them know how I feel about this. Matter of fact, we don't even know if it's going to make it to the Supreme Court because we've stacked the judiciary branch all the way up to getting to the Supreme Court. So damn even trying to get to the Supreme Court, because even the path to getting to having your case heard at the Supreme Court is already lined with people that they've appointed. Mitch McConnell has showed you, the other side has showed you, we're not about playing fair. We're not about any types of fair fight. You got us over here in Arizona looking like, it looks like Venezuela. You know, when they were having problems with the Venezuelan elections, when was that, last year before last, and you had CNN and MSNBC and people down there with cameras and footage about, oh, people are outside of the election polls with rifles and there's militias out here and this, that, and the third. Tell me that's not what the fuck it looks like over there in Arizona last night and probably still today, because I ain't looked. Trying to scare the election and poll workers from doing what they're supposed to be doing. We look like a freaking third world country. All grips on what we know to be a first world country, a democracy, is slipping away. Just slipping away. You have a sitting American president advocating that American legally cast American votes not be counted. I want you to wrap your hands around that. Mind you, the framers of this country talked about their biggest problem was taxation without representation. Remember, that was the whole big thing. Make it make sense, y'all. Make it make sense. So, I'm going to say it's going to be very telling. Once I'm pretty secure in thinking that Joe Biden will get to his 270, and that's fine. What's going to happen then with the Senate and this great state of Georgia is going to be the most important thing. And that's why I say what I think, so because when you hear people, and I don't expect everybody to be up on politics. I don't expect everybody to be as knowledgeable on politics because it's exhausting, it's daunting, and all of that. But people in positions of power should do enough and should say enough to galvanize the people and educate them a little bit and say, hey, yeah, we're looking to get to our 270, but let's be clear, we should also be focused on the Senate as well, because that is just equally as important as being in the seat. And that's where you got to start to galvanize. That's where you got to let the rubber hit the pavement. Anyway, y'all, I've been on here for over an hour talking about politics. I thought I was only going to be on here for like 30, 45 minutes. Let me see what y'all said in the chat before I get up off here. What is the margin of difference in votes in Georgia to have a recount? There will be a runoff. It's already a runoff with one of the Senate seats. That's the one with Warnoff and Laughlin. Now, with Perdue and Ossoff, Perdue, last time I checked, was still a little bit over 50%. If Ossoff, with the votes that they're still counting, can chip into his lead and get his lead to dip below 50%, it immediately sparks a runoff in January. So as long as once they count up all the votes, neither one of them have the 50% margin, then it will spark a runoff in January. So then you'll have both Senate seats in Georgia that will be up in the January runoff. But like I said, even if worst case scenario, they keep North Carolina, Perdue wins, that will put the Republicans at 50. If the Dems get Arkansas, I think they said they already got Arizona. I'm not worried. They already got Arizona. But if they can get Arkansas, that one to go blue, which I think it will. And then the is it Arkansas last one of the A's, I forgot. It's I know Arizona, but it's another state. I thought it was Arkansas. Or was it the last? It's an A. It's one of the A's. They have a Senate seat that's open as well. If they can get that one to stay, then they'll have 49. Okay. If Warnoff wins the runoff in January, then that'll put them at 50, which is all they need, because then the Senate will be tied, and Kamala Harris would break the tie. But if they lose both of those Georgia seats, the Republicans keep the Senate. The only other path to the Republicans not keeping the Senate is if that North Carolina seat then shifts and the Dems flip that North Carolina seat. The numbers right now are not in their favor, but it's still close. It's still too close to call. I'm not really worried about Trump suing because the likelihood of him winning any of those suits are very slim. I'm more so focused on the Senate. Even if by some chance, even if a worst case scenario happened and Trump eked out 70 or Trump's lawsuits were successful, if the Dems can still pull off the Senate, then he's not going to be able to do anything except for executive orders. It'll be much better than it has been in the last 4 years. He won't be able to keep just funneling all his henchmen into the judiciary. Hey, Starbell. Right. No, Arizona, I'm not talking about. Arizona, I know that's going. But there's another. Hold on. I'll tell you right now which Senate seat it is. There's another Senate seat out there. Unless they already called it. Let me see. It's Alaska. I'm sorry. It's Alaska. Now, right now, the Republican Sullivan is winning that Alaska race, but they still only have 56% of the votes in. And so the Dems they still have the large Democratic segments that still have to be counted in Alaska. So I'm not worried about Arizona. It's that Alaska. I thought it was Arkansas, but it's actually Alaska. That Alaska race is what the Dems have to pull off. Like I said, the Arizona I'm not worried about, but that Alaska race, they have to get that race. They have to get yeah, the Arizona I know, but they got to get that Alaska race. Yeah, no, I said Arkansas, but I meant I meant it wasn't Arkansas, it's Alaska. Hell, Arkansas isn't even was it even up for re-election this year? Hold on, where am I? Where's my map? Yeah, the Arkansas already went Republican. Yeah, Cotton already won that one. I meant the Alaska. I knew it was one of the A's. So so the races that we need to look at is the Alaska race, the Arizona race. I told you I'm pretty sure Kelly will win that. Dems have to take that Alaska race. They gotta win Alaska. Hopefully we can flip something in North Carolina, but who knows? And then those two Georgia races are gotta get off one of those Georgia races. So yeah, no, I'm little baby. I'm not worried about Arizona. Kelly's gonna win Arizona. I'm pretty sure he'll win Arizona. It's the Alaska race that I'm thinking about. Anyway, let me tell you how silly the Democratic strategy was. The fact that Susan Collins won in Maine. That tells you your strategy wasn't. Susan Collins didn't think Susan Collins was going to win. Anyway, y'all, I'm about to get up off here. I got some stuff I got to do before 3 o'clock. Anyway, y'all, let's get some Shondos in the chat before I get off. It's been so great talking, and we'll talk some more politics. I know Really B's going to talk later. about it a little bit. I'm sure she will disagree with me on some stuff because she always disagrees with me on stuff. But I didn't want to get too heavy into like the Florida politics because I know we're all from different areas and I didn't want to go too heavy. But there are some definite things that happen. And if you want, I can, for those people who want to talk Florida politics, I could do that again. Maybe tomorrow if you all want me to. We can get, though, because I do know I have a large Florida population. And there are some people that are from Florida, born and raised and live in other states now. Like I know Beautiful Soul is from my area of Miami. Beautiful Soul, if you're still in the chat, what high school did you go to? I wonder. I went to Miami Central, the good high school. She should not have won the. Listen, Susan Collins by no stretch of the imagination. Hey, Valerie Bermudez. Because there are some definite things I know to people. Oh, you went to Carol City? You probably know my people, Beautiful Soul, because I got a lot of family that graduated from Carol City. Child, I wonder what year you came out. Child, don't tell your age. Don't tell us what year you came out. Anyway, we might talk about that some other time. Don't talk about Miami Central being ghetto. For y'all down south people just as ghetto. Don't let me talk about South Ridge. Y'all down there in Goose and Perrine. Like y'all so much better than us. Dare I say Homestead and Florida City. Oh, you came out in 88? I got a cousin. Well, most of my cousins grew up around the Lake Stevens area, so they came out that area. But if you remember that area, they used to send them to American back then, and then remember they changed the district and they made that area around Lake Stevens start going over to Carol City as opposed to going to American. Child, I'm going deep into Miami stuff now. I'm going deep into Miami district and stuff like that. But you know what I'm talking about, Beautiful Soul. Hey, Lock Queen. Anyway, y'all, we'll talk about it some more. Maybe Really B will invite me on her channel later today when she's talking about it. We'll see. Really B, you should do that. You should have me and Beautiful Soul come on there and all of us can talk about the politics of it all and have a good, long, good, detailed discussion. I think it'd be great. It's just an idea to all talk about it. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all. Y'all know, as I always say, I love y'all. I love on y'all. Thank you all for doing what you do. Thank you for everybody who became a member today. Thank you for anybody who decided to bless me with the Cash App and or Super Chat. Thank you, everybody, for doing what you do. I'm about to get off here and go take care of some stuff. Shouts out to Beautiful Soul. Shouts out to Really B for the artist. It's me D. Every reviews. And all of the other YouTubers that came in today. Y'all know I love y'all. Thank y'all for sharing my video. Everybody who shared as well. We'll continue the discussion. We'll continue to have this conversation. And we'll continue to talk about these things and not let it go, unnoticed. Still hold people accountable. Until next time, that's all I got for y'all. Thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. I'm out.